Okay, hello YouTube. This is the Canadian Greek coming at you with Ison update number 5. Things just keep getting weirder and weirder and stranger and more bizarre with this comet. Let's get to it because we have a lot to get through today. Remember, this is Bruce Gary's website. Okay, this is Bruce Gary's website. If you remember the last update that I gave you, let's just read what it says here. Tony Scarmata has used AstroArt to enhance spatial structure in comet Ison images. He finds a jet pointed towards the sun, similar to what was seen in Hubble Space Telescope images taken in April and May 2013. This is an important thing to verify, for it might allow for the determination of the nucleus rotation period and possible its orientation. Knowing if one pole is pointed to the sun is an important goal, for it could explain the fading brightness since conjunction after adjustment for changes in Earth comet distance. Here is the enhanced image for the latest observing date. Now remember, in the last video I said way to play catch up there, Gary, because knowing the orientation, okay, knowing if one pole is pointing towards the sun is an important goal. And I said that in my third update, okay, because I said if there's a sun-facing jet, that's impossible, because that would mean that only one side of Ison is consistently facing the sun. Consistently facing the sun, which means that Ison is flying through space, not tumbling the way, comets do. They rotate on X, Y, Z axes, which means it rotates in all directions. It tumbles through space. Apparently, Ison is flying through space if this is true. Now, you guys remember I said that in my third update. Well, let's see what else I found. Comet Ison details emerge as it races toward the sun. Scientists are unraveling more information on Comet C2012S1 Ison as it continues on its journey towards the sun. Comet C Ison will skim 730,000 miles above the sun's surface on November 28th and has the potential to be readily visible from Earth starting in early December. I'm not going to read this part here, but we measured the rotational pole of the nucleus. The pole indicates that only one side of the comet is being heated by the sun on its way in until approximately 1 week before it reaches its closest point to the sun, said Planetary Science Institute research scientist Jianyang Li, who led the team that imaged the comet. Now, if you guys remember, Jianyang Li he was also on the Hubble Space Telescope hangout. He was a Chinese member at the bottom. So, way to play catch up, NASA. Okay, he's a NASA scientist, and now apparently NASA agrees with my theory that if there is a sun-facing jet, that means that Ison is flying through space, and apparently that's what they're saying now. They're saying that only one side of Ison is consistently facing the sun, which is unheard of. This is the first for me. This is the first time I've ever heard of a comet flying through space with only one side of the comet consistently facing the sun. And I have to ask, how can that be? Because with jets going off, with gases being expelled, this should be forcing the comet to rotate, to tumble, and to do various other maneuvers. But to have only one side facing the sun, this is very, 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 very unusual. It is just bizarre. Okay, but apparently Jianyang Li now, and he's a NASA scientist, by the way, now agrees with me that apparently it's flying through space. Okay, let's look at what else I found. Astronomer Ignacia Farron, FACOM researcher, analyzed the most recent observational data of Comet Ison and has identified clear signatures of what he has called an impending demise. The so-called light curve of the comet shows features previously observed in disintegrating comets. Since his previous announcement, the predictions of Professor Ignacio Ferrin concerning the uncertain future of Comet Ison are being, if not definitely confirmed, at least supported by the most recent optical observations, despite the generalized skepticism and claims about the fact that the rumors of Comet Ison fizzling were greatly exaggerated. The comet is still showing an unexpected behavior that cometary specialists are fighting to explain. Well, I guess so, because if Comet Ison is flying through space, okay, instead of tumbling through space, if only one side of Ison is consistently pointing forward or facing the sun, that would explain its fading brightness. It would explain a lot, but what it wouldn't explain is, general laws of physics and how it's doing that, because it shouldn't be. That is unheard of. But apparently, it's happening, and now NASA is supporting it, which really raises a lot more questions in my mind and means that I have a lot more research to do on this comet now, because when NASA agrees with me, I don't like it because, well, actually NASA doesn't agree with me. They're saying it's flying. I say it's impossible for that to be happening. Moving right along, I have found some pictures that I think you'll find interesting. Let's start with this one. This is Comet Ison and Mars. Now this could just be a greatly overexposed image, okay, but does that look to you like Mars has had its feathers ruffled? Is that a coma around Mars? I won't speculate. I just think it's a very interesting image. It certainly looks to me like Mars has had its feathers ruffled. Okay, and move on to the next image here. C2012S1 Ison. Okay, this one is by Richard Rick Owens. Okay, and this is showing an artifact. It says either comet party, the comet Ison is breaking apart, or it's something that it dragged in with it through the asteroid belt, maybe through its entire trip. If you guys remember my Ison series, Not What NASA Says, I said that there's a possible 7 other objects coming in with Ison. So it's either one or the other. It's either a piece of Ison. If it's not breaking up, then it's something that is dragged in with it through the asteroid belt, or who knows from where, for how long it's had these objects with it. Let's see what else we have here for you. Here's an interesting picture I think you should see. This is Heaves Chasma. This is a chasm on Mars. Does that look to you like an arc welder hit Mars? Does that look like there was a plasma discharge, that there was an actual arc that carved out this groove on Mars? Is that what possibly happened recently with Ison and Mars? Is that why they shut down NASA? They don't want us to see the thunderbolts of the gods. They don't want us to see. I don't understand why they're holding back information about what's really happening out there in the universe and how things really work. Why are we being held to the dirty, snowball theory when it's absolute crap? Why are we not being given the real science? I don't understand these people. I don't understand why. I don't understand their motives as to why. But that certainly looks to me like there was an arc reaction here. If you guys ever seen anybody arc welding, this is what I'm talking about. An arc between two objects that causes this kind of a chasm. Could this recently have happened on Mars? Is that what they wanted to hide from us? Because that certainly looks like scorch marks to me, people. I mean, I don't know about you, but that looks like scorch marks on Mars. Could that have happened again recently? If you guys read Velikovsky's book, Worlds in Collision, and all his books basically, he talks about what happened to Mars. Mars, he claims that, or the ancients claim that Mars once was a blue planet, like ours. It wasn't always as it is until it had a run-in with Venus, the comet. Anyways, if If you guys remember, also in my third update, I ran over some things that I had from an email. Okay. Based upon what I'm hearing and gathering with my intelligence gathering efforts, we appear to be under a real threat from space debris coming in ahead of Ison and possibly behind it as well, after its close approach to Earth in December 26th. Okay. Also, one other thing: unusual lights, military preps, etc. in Puerto Rico could be tied to FEMA Region 3 preps. Hundreds of islanders having dreams of fireballs hitting the sea. Now, I've seen plenty of information and videos that something is going on in Puerto Rico. A lot of equipment, military equipment, has been moved down there for some reason. I don't know why. FEMA coffins, you know, those 3-man coffins and everything else. It also in that email, it also mentions that we are in for a slight earthquake uptick during this period. It states 10 to the 12th, but it could be a little bit longer. I just had an earthquake here today, by the way. Where is it here? Well, it's here. It's 4.7, and it was very close to my house. Oops, let's back up a little bit here. Okay, this is where the earthquake was. It was about 50 kilometers from my house. I live around here. I felt it. Wasn't pleasant. Thank God there was no damage. It was a 4.7, which is not exactly a small earthquake. It's not a large one. It's not devastating, but it's significant. Anyways, that's it for right now. I don't know if I'm being vindicated here, because I said that Ison must be flying if it has a forward-facing jet. Now apparently Jiang Yang Li says that is what is happening. I seriously doubt it. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I'm not a Hubble space scientist. I don't work for NASA, so maybe I don't know a damn thing, or maybe I know more than they do, as far as common sense and physics goes. That's it for now. If I come up with any new information, if I find anything else, I'll keep you guys apprised. I'll keep you updated. This is the Canadian Greek. I'm out. Oh, P.S. I forgot to mention one other thing. I also ran into information that comet Ison has changed its trajectory by 1 degree, which would bring it, by the way, closer to Earth on its exit flight after perihelion. I don't know if this is true or not. I have not been able to find information to corroborate that information that I was given. So take that one with a grain of salt. Okay. I still give no credence to any trajectory that is being floated around out there. I will believe nothing until after perihelion, because everything is likely to change. From solar flares to CMEs that this thing will evoke when it goes around the sun, I think its trajectory is likely to change greatly. Whatever it is now, it probably will not be the same after perihelion. Anyways, that's it. This is the Canadian Greek. I'm out.